Mark your calendars for Thursday, March 22nd. Michael Voris is speaking in Denver, Colorado at the Crown Plaza Hotel and Convention Center. Michael's topic is Masculinity and Catholicism, How to Embrace the Authentic Catholic Faith. Come early, as seating is limited. Doors open at 6 p.m.
Hello everyone and welcome to The Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. As we have the past couple of days, we begin with a heads up that today's episode is about a topic that some people might be uncomfortable with. It's about masturbation, and today we'd like to talk about the struggle to overcome what can be a spiritually and psychologically devastating habit. We should first distinguish between the young and not so young confronting the sin of masturbation in their own lives. Those who have developed a long-standing habit of sin in this area face a somewhat different set of struggles than those who currently are just falling into the habit. For those who are younger, teenagers, young adults, it can be very discouraging to try and avoid the habit. Various physical changes to the body's hormonal system as well as psychological maturation process can both lead to a feeling of near compulsion. When you consider that the entertainment world that most young people are exposed to makes light of masturbation and sexual temptation in the form of images, conversations, and music, and all of this is served up as part of a daily diet, it may seem impossible to not give in to this particular sin. For those young people who understand the gravity of this sin and are making a serious effort to overcome it, it can become discouraging and draining and even create a throw in the towel kind of attitude. It's easy to succumb to all of those voices around you saying things like, it's okay, everybody's doing it, no big deal. What we need to recognize in those types of temptations is that they aren't so much temptations of the flesh as they are temptations to distort your intellect. They obviously have reference to the flesh, to a physical sexual act, but they are presented to your intellect, not your flesh. Rationalizations necessarily appeal to our rational natures, our thought process. This is why it's so important, so very important, to make sure that your mind, your intellect, is a bastion of truth and cold, hard logic. God gave you a mind to be able to reason to truth. And when a temptation comes along which assails your intellect, you must be equipped to fight back intellectually. This is, after all, how the serpent got to Eve. He snaked around the tree and spoke with her, proposing things for her intellect. She makes this abundantly clear when she responds to God that the serpent, in her words, quote, tricked me. The temptation to sexual sin, especially masturbation, is actually an opportunity to grow. All temptation is. Temptation is the chance to choose the good, to do the right. So while we don't like these temptations when they show up, we need to consider that there is a silver lining. We also have to ask why we don't like temptation. The bottom line answer of why we don't like temptation is always the same, because down deep we know we are weak and we are very fearful that we will fall. We know our own histories. And yet, we will fall and give in every single time. It's our nature to be inclined towards sin. In the depths of our fallen natures, it appeals to us. We enjoy it. We sacrifice our intellects, dull as they are, and we give in. What prevents us from giving in, the only thing that really can prevent us, is grace. The life of God is what transforms the life of our fallen nature. We must want to overcome. We must want to be a champion, which means we must be willing to sacrifice, to pay the price. It is in the struggle that man is forged. In order to engage in the struggle, we must understand, comprehend, intellectualize everything that is being laid out before us. It takes a tremendous act of the will to conquer sin, a hero's will, in fact. Being discouraged is for cowards. It's the very meaning of the word discouraged, without courage. Young men aren't called to be cowards. They are called to go to great heights of power and glory, to stand in the glory of God and use their powers for the good of others. Getting discouraged is exactly what your enemy wants. Discouragement further weakens you. It softens you up like you're getting punched out. It makes you more vulnerable when the next assault comes. and a horrible downward cycle begins. Behind that cycle is a self-view that is truly sad, a man reduced to a weak boy. But don't be discouraged. Don't see yourself as unable to overcome. Since this involves sin, it will take grace to overcome. And the good news is, what the good news has always been, that grace abounds. Tomorrow, we'll talk about some practical steps you can take to begin to overcome this sin. God love you. I'm Michael Voris.